What is up? Welcome back to Just a Guy on My Lunch Break. My name is Corey. I will be your host today. Last night got kind of real. Brought back some bad memories, if I'm being honest. For the past about month, probably more like month and a half at this point, I've been using Kratom every day. Not only that, but I've shared with you guys how I've been using the powder. I've not really been limiting my use at all. And there are times, more times than not, I was taking it, 5 times a day, sometimes 6 times a day. Just, every few hours, I was taking a dose of it. And finally started to change that yesterday. Decided to kind of, try to get my shit back on track for at least only doing it 3 times a day. That way, when January the 1st rolls around and I go to do this taper again, I'm in somewhat more of a manageable sort of slow taper situation. Okay? And let me just start out by saying, so I only used Kratom 3 times yesterday. That's what I'm getting at. Yesterday was the first time in about a month and a half probably that I've only used Kratom 3 times. I used it first thing in the morning, took another dose right around lunchtime, just a few minutes ago. This was yesterday though. And then I took another dose in the evening when I got home around 6 o'clock, something like that. And didn't take any more for the rest of the night. I want to be clear, my daytimes, not that bad. Not that bad. And I've always said, when it comes to any sort of withdrawals, now, granted, bear in mind, I still did have some Kratom in my system. Took a dose first thing in the morning, took a dose at 12 noon, then another dose later that evening. So I still did have some in my system, but I definitely had significantly less. I wasn't doing the interdoses. Like, normally I would have taken one first thing in the morning. Sometimes I was taking another one by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. Then I was taking another one a couple hours later, taking another dose at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then taking another dose when I go, 5, 6 times. And yesterday I didn't do that. And I could definitely tell a difference. My daytimes were not that bad. I mean, I did have some moments there towards the end of the day when I was about ready to leave work and I hadn't had it in, 5 hours, 5, 6 hours. I did start kind of having some moments where I was like, yawning a little bit, which I don't really ever yawn, and I actually caught myself sneezing a couple of times too. I was like, damn, really? Just from going a few hours, a few extra hours without it. But it's quite amazing. Your body, that's why they call it dependency. Your body becomes dependent upon it. And if you start doing something different than what your body has become dependent upon, that includes putting off certain doses, just skipping certain doses, going a couple of extra hours longer than what you normally do, before you take a dose, whatever, your body will react to that. It really does, and mine was yesterday. So my daytimes were not that bad, but I've always said that the worst part of withdrawals is the nighttime. I think everybody would agree with that. I think everyone would sign their name on that dotted line. Everyone would raise their hand there. The insomnia, the restless legs, which for me is more just, it's not the legs so much as just general bodily restlessness. I don't even know how to describe it. But let's just say this. I went to sleep. I was able to doze off. As of about 1 o'clock in the morning, I started getting somewhat uncomfortable. This wasn't, full on like horrible withdrawals, but I definitely felt like I was sleeping on pins and needles last night. It's one of those things where I was kind of asleep. I obviously was asleep for some of it because I remember dreaming, very strange dreams, might I add. So I was obviously sleeping, but it's one of those where I felt like I was just kind of in and out constantly. You know, I mean, I feel like I woke up probably a good 15 times throughout the night. And that's not an exaggeration either. And what that is just, I took a significantly lesser amount. I probably took, I would say 10 to 15 grams less yesterday than what I have been taking in days prior for this whole month and a half or so that I've been using it. So the withdrawals are definitely in full effect. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either. I definitely was feeling the effects of it. I do have these, I don't know if you guys ever had Kratom gummies. And I did have some Kratom gummies. My wife's calling me here. I'll call her back. I do have some Kratom gummies that when I will get my powder, I will buy some of the gummies. And I've been doing this thing where I'll keep them right there near the bed. And then, you know, earlier in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, if I start getting a little uncomfortable, whatever it is, I will reach over and take one of those gummies, and that kind of helps, you know, bring me back down a little bit, help me go to sleep. Now, let's just say this. I put 2 of those gummies by my bed last night because I was kind of anticipating having a rough night. Because I've been here, done this. Been there, done that. Been here, done this, you know, a few times now, unfortunately. And so I kind of know what to expect, right? So I was anticipating it. I kind of knew it was going to be a rough night, and it was. But I kept the gummies there and actually took 2 gummies throughout the night, and it still, I still did not sleep well. I still was sleeping on pins and needles. It was still kind of a rough night. You know, so obviously this morning when I got up, that was a little bit rough. I'm not gonna lie. And obviously I kind of had the feeling of, damn, take some more, you know, screw all this. You know, you talk a big game, but then when you start experiencing the withdrawals and you start experiencing the low energy and a little bit of the anhedonia starts to creep in and stuff, you want to flip that script real quick. You know, but you know, that's my flesh talking, you know, when it says take another dose. And I know that. And I had someone leave in the comments the other day because I made that video about, I felt like God was trying to tell me something. And they made a comment, which I actually did not print out the comment, but I couldn't tell if the comment was to give me shit, kind of like they were trolling me a little bit, or they were just making light of the situation, almost as though, you know, yeah, I know what you're going through. I've experienced the same thing, because it said something like, because I was talking about God was trying to tell me something, you know, with a few of the things that I've had happen recently, including the bad sexual experience. You can't even call it a sexual experience because it didn't get that far, but which I'm gonna touch on that a little bit as well. But you know, I was saying that God was trying to tell me something, and the message said something like, and then weeks, months later, God turns around and tells me that, oh, Kratom's okay, brother. You know, and because I was also talking about in that video how I had been on it and I had quit a couple of times in the last several months. So I don't know this person. I don't know what their angle is. I don't know if they're currently using Kratom, or if they're a person that used to use Kratom and they're off of Kratom and they're kind of giving me shit for going back on, and, you know, on and off sort of thing. Could have been either. But, you know, it wasn't like it was super disrespectful or anything like that. They could have just been giving me shit. But it was a good talking point, because what they said was, you know, they were responding to the fact that I was saying that God was trying to tell me something about the Kratom. And then they were saying, but then a few weeks, months later, I had another talk with God, and he said, Kratom's all right, brother. Like, it's a good talking point because, no, that's not what happens. And anytime I've ever gone back on it, that wasn't God talking. That was me talking. That was my flesh, being weak and saying that, damn, this sucks. This current physical and emotional experience sucks. I don't like it. So your mind and your body, especially your mind, starts looking for all these reasons and all these excuses to just take it again, because if you take it again, you'll instantly feel better, right? But let's be clear, that ain't God. That ain't God. It was God telling me that I need to stop and that I need to make some changes in it. But any voice that might be telling me to continue dosing and dosing and dosing on kratom, especially the way I was doing it, to a point where you're having kratom induced impotence, that ain't God. Nor is that God's voice. That's my voice, my selfish voice in the flesh, wanting to be weak, wanting to divert back to that is comfortable for me again, right? So it's a good comment. It's kind of a funny comment, but let's be clear, I don't think that's God. Weeks later, when that voice starts coming and saying, oh, just try it again, you can control it this time, just take it again, get back on it, let's be clear, I don't think that's God. I've never thought that was God. I've always known that was me and my voice in the flesh, trying to give me a reason and an excuse to go back on it so that I could save myself from the discomfort that I was currently feeling, right? You get weak in the flesh is weak, okay? But it's important to recognize that. And I recognized when I saw that comment that it's important to recognize that, right? And it's important to recognize that, no, that ain't God telling you that, brother. Whenever you make the decision to go back on it or to start taking it again, that ain't God that's telling you that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with kratom. Again, it's all about perspective, and it depends on how you're taking it. And there's people out there that are taking it much more responsibly, and they're not having a lot of the negative side effects from it. To those people, to each their own, and to those people, maybe you're in a good spot with it. And I'm not going to sit here as a person who is in my own skin and not in your skin and tell you that you're doing it wrong, or you need to change this, or you need to stop taking that. No. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different experience with it. Everybody is using it at a different level, at a different rate, at different doses, all of it. Okay? So I don't get on here, and that's why I don't ever get on here and campaign against kratom. Some people genuinely really need it, or at least they think they need it. And if they think it, and it's them who's thinking it, then who am I as a completely separate person to go and say, nah, you don't need that. You don't need that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But it's not for me to say. It's not for me to say. But anyway, I found that interesting. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep it like this for throughout the remainder of December and Christmas and all that. One thing I am going to do differently is tonight, I'm pretty much out of powder, so what I plan to do is tonight when I go to the kratom store, I'm going to buy capsules. I'm going to buy a big thing of the capsules. They're a little bit more expensive, but it's just something I need to do to really, what you don't measure, you don't change. So if you don't know how much you're taking, and you can't get a real grasp on that, then you're not really in a good position to start cutting down and to start making a change in how much you're taking. And again, I may not come completely off of it. I don't know yet, and I may do something like where I just get down to 1 dose per day and I take that in the evenings, because I have had periods of time with Kratom where I was taking it like that. And when I was taking it like that, I didn't experience a lot of those negative side effects that I experience at higher doses. You know, at higher doses, it really starts to be, I think, a detriment. And we've talked about Kratom being a curse and a blessing and a curse. I think that dynamic and that dual dynamic starts to happen at the higher doses. That's just my opinion on it, and I think most people feel that way. But so tonight, you know, I'll take the 3 doses again, well, today rather. I've already taken the 2, and I'll take another one this evening when I get home. Hopefully after 3 days, 4 days of just taking the 3 doses, you know, hopefully the night times will start to look a little better, start to feel a little better as my body, you know, starts to adjust to the lower amounts. You have to give your body time to adjust to it, guys. A lot of people, I think, you know, they get just a little ways into it, you know, just a few hours into it, or a day into it, or 2 days into it, and they're just like, oh, fuck this is too uncomfortable, you know, and then they go back before they even give their body a chance to readjust, you know. You know, it's taking you months or years to get your body to become dependent and expecting and anticipating this Kratom intake on a regular basis, right? And this is a process that takes months, sometimes years, you know. You don't turn around and undo that shit in 2 days. It just don't happen, you know. And a lot of people aren't able to maintain that level of patience, and they're just like, oh, it's just too hard. You get that feeling like it's always going to be that way. It's never going to change. It's never going to get better. And, you know, I can't take this. Just give me some more so I can feel good again, right? Because as addicts, you know, that's what we want. That's the biggest thing. That's the main thing. I just want to feel good, right? I just want to feel good. Oh. But, you know, that's also how we get ourselves in trouble. So today I'm doing the 3 doses again. Probably going to have a rough night again. This evening when I go home, I'm planning on doing some sort of exercise. I didn't get to yesterday. I did a really significant jog Monday night. So 2 nights ago, I did probably a 5-mile jog. I don't know exactly how far I went because I wasn't keeping up with it, but I know it had to be at least 5 because I know exactly what 4 is, and I did 4, and then I did probably another 10 minutes after that of a slow jog. So at least 5 miles, something like that, on hills with a weighted vest on. So I got a good workout in a couple of nights ago. Didn't do any last night. Gonna do it tonight. Kind of, you know, hopefully get my body just completely exhausted so that I can sleep a little better tonight. At Boom Jitsu says, hey Corey, great video as always, man, and an awesome story about the God Rock. Thank you, bro. Just wanted to let you know it's been 43 days and counting since I quit daily use of Kratom. I've used it once a week since, and I honestly feel guilty even for doing that. I haven't bought any more Kratom since I quit, and I'm pretty much leaning towards never buying it once I run out. The most difficult part for me is thinking about getting through big social events without it, as I get social anxiety and Kratom helps with that so much. I also don't drink and don't like to drink, so I've used that as a justification for using Kratom. Ultimately, my conscience tells me it's wrong to use Kratom. I want to be sober and just face life. I want my joy to be my own and real. One thing that was really tough when quitting is practicing music. It wasn't as fun for me anymore, but eventually I found joy without being high again, and that felt so awesome. That's awesome you do music, man. I love music too. I'm also a musician. To know that my joy of the instrument was actually real, that felt amazing. I also had a huge hit to libido when on Kratom. That was a huge reason I wanted to quit as well. anyways, hope you have a great day, brother, and thanks for another awesome video. Boom Jitsu, awesome to hear from you, man. He's been with me for a while. I know he's into the martial arts and stuff as well, hence the name Boom Jitsu. But yeah, it seems like you're in a good spot, man. Seems like you're really getting your mind right regarding this thing. And listen, you know, he says here, I've been using it like once a week, and he feels even guilty about that. And listen, why is that? You know, because I just sat here and said to you that there are people out there that sincerely feel like they need it and they take it, and they're in a good spot with it. Then why would you have other people like Boom Jitsu who takes it once a week and still feels guilty about that? I'm going to tell you why. And it's right here in his comment where he says, ultimately, my conscience tells me it's wrong to use Kratom. That's it. That's why. Why does his conscience tell him that it's wrong? Well, I can tell you why. Because there are people out there that use Kratom responsibly and they are not addicts. Okay? My wife is one of these people. I always use her as an example. My wife will take a little bit of Kratom in the morning, like 2 or 3 capsules, and then she won't take it again for the rest of the day. Rest of the day. I don't know how she does it. Doesn't make any sense to me, because, you know, if it feels good to me at 8 o'clock in the morning, it feels good at 10. If it feels good at 10, it feels good at 12. If it feels good at 12, it's going to feel good at 3. You know, and that's my mindset with it. But I have that addictive mindset, and my wife does not. It just doesn't cross her mind to just keep taking it and keep taking it and keep taking it. Plus, she is a person that will get nauseous from it as well. So there's that added little incentive, you know, to not take a big amount of it. Sometimes I wish it made me nauseous. I have a freaking cast iron stomach. I mean, I've been using Kratom on and off for over 4 years now, and I think there's been one time, maybe twice in that whole 4 or 5 years of mostly daily use that I got a little bit like queasy and nauseous from it. And even then, I didn't throw up. I felt like I could have, but I never did. And then eventually the feeling just passed, and then I was fine. I've literally had that happen once or twice, and I've taken amounts that supersede the amounts that she's taken by far. I'm talking about way more higher amounts than what she has taken. And you know, she'll take just the smallest amount and she'll start getting queasy from it. So not sure what the correlation there is, but I will say that for sure, if I was a person that got sick from it, I probably wouldn't take it as much, and that probably would help me to not become so physically dependent upon it. Maybe I would have never developed that physical dependence and addiction on it. But anyway, yeah, so Boom Jitsu, man, I agree with you. And if you're a person that exhibits that addict behavior, and if you're a person that when you're taking it and you're taking the shit out of it, then you do kind of get to a point where it's like, you know, Kratom may be okay for some people, but for me, I just can't feel right about it. Just can't feel right about it. And, you know, it's, you know, as much as I don't want to say it, because I'm getting on here and putting myself out there and kind of putting myself on blast by getting on here and talking to all you guys about it, because I can't get on here and say whatever I put out into the universe and put out into the ethosphere, I can't take that back. You know what I mean? And those words have merit. Those words have values. Those words mean something. So if I get on here and saying, yeah, if I get on here and say that's kind of where I'm at, you know, I just kind of feel like it may be okay for some people, but for me specifically, I just don't know if I'm ever going to feel okay with taking it, you know, even if that was once a week, because I know that I have the tendency and that any moment in time, that addiction could switch on, and then next thing you know, I'm using it every day, multiple times a day again, right? And then I'm physically dependent, and then I'm going through all doing this whole kratom trap roller coaster bullshit that happens, you know. Everybody doesn't experience that, you know, and I understand that, and so if you're a person that that's why I'm not on here telling anyone, okay, you this, you that, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Well, that I tried what you're doing and that didn't work for me, so that means you can't do it either. No, I'll never do that. You know, I'll never do that because I'm not you and you're not me. So I would never do that. All right, one more comment real quick. At Lene Cuddy. Happy day, Corey. God and his angels gives us signs our entire lives. You have to look and listen whenever he does. You bet your ass he's trying to show your wife and you the right path to take. I pray every day to God about something. He's always listening and tries to steer you towards the right path without breaking your free will. That's, man, whew, that's where it gets muddy. Because you're exactly right. He's always trying to steer you, you know, but he's not going to break your free will. You know, he's not going to make you do it. Where would be the joy and the glory in God if he just made you do everything the right way? There will be no free will, so there will be no reason to glorify him. Like, well, everybody's doing the right thing. I am, you am, he is, that girl over there, that guy, we're all doing the right thing. So, you know, you know, and that's, man, that's real. That's real talk. I like the way you said that, without breaking your free will. And because a lot of people say, oh, God ain't real, because if he was real, then we all wouldn't be living in all this crap and turmoil. Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay. So that's why you think God is not real, was he's not sending down a lightning bolt to everyone that doesn't just automatically follow the path that he puts forth for that person? No, he's not going to do that, because then he wouldn't be a loving God, would he? He wouldn't be a gracious, loving God if he was making you, if he was putting his finger on you and making you do exactly what he felt like you should do. You know, there's no glory in that for him, right? Anyway, I tried to be disciplined enough to take kratom 1 week and then 1 week off. You were right about the strategy. I kept breaking my own rules, keeping it to 15 grams a day, but want it lower. So happy my husband doesn't know kratom even exists. Thank you, Lord. It would be quiet times in our bedroom. Take care, mister. Well, this was in response to the video where I was talking about the, you know, having the sexual dysfunction issue. At TR3-999, I'm going to get to you tomorrow, my bro. And this is absolutely a great comment that he left. So I want to get to it tomorrow, but I got to go. I got to call my wife. Got a bunch of stuff to do today. And besides, this is going to cut me off. I'm almost 29 minutes right now. Love you guys. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Peace.